Do the winter blues hit you hard? Does the summer leave you feeling restless and anxious? If the changing seasons means changing mood for you, then it's not just a phase you're going through. It could be seasonal affective disorder, a real condition which affects how you feel, how you sleep, and how you interact with others. Hi, I'm Neil, and in this video we're going to look at a crucial aspect of seasonal affective disorder, its symptoms. Understanding the symptoms is essential if you want to be able to recognize and manage the disorder. While the causes, which we looked at in the last video, you can click here to check that out, are the underlying factors which lead to SAD, such as lack of exposure to daylight. The symptoms are the manifestations, are the indicators, if you like, of the disorder. They are signs that you yourself will observe and feel. They include if you have a change in your mood, low energy levels, if you're experiencing a loss of appetite, if you're experiencing a change in your sleep pattern. Unraveling these symptoms and getting to know them is going to be essential for you to be able to really deal and manage with seasonal affective disorder effectively. Firstly, let's go through a list of symptoms which are quite specific to seasonal affective disorder. And again, this isn't an exhaustive list. Seasonal pattern. So those symptoms of SAD raise their ugly head around the same time every year. There's a pattern. Maybe it's autumn, winter, they worsen. Spring, summer, they lessen. So try to figure if you see a pattern developing. This could tell you, could be a telltale sign that it's seasonal affective disorder. Craving for carbohydrates. I know it could happen at any time, happens to all of us, but this could be a sign that you're reaching for those starchy, those sweet foods, especially during the winter time, winter pattern SAD. Craving carbohydrates in the context of SAD is believed to be linked to the body's attempt to boost serotonin levels. If you'll remember, we talked about how serotonin plays a crucial part in regulating our mood. Consuming carbs can lead to an increase in serotonin levels, which in turn leads to an improvement in mood and provide a temporary sense of relief from depressive symptoms. Temporary. Just on this craving of carbs, there's also a psychological aspect to it. For comfort or reward. We all like comfort food. Carbs give us that. They definitely provide us with a temporary sense of pleasure or relief, which is very appealing to all of us, and particularly to people who may be falling into seasonal affective disorder. The lack of energy we feel, we reach for carbs. Carbs gives us energy, a temporary boost of energy. People with SAD often feel fatigued and need that quick boost. This reaching for carbs isn't always about us being weak or having no willpower. Sometimes we're doing it because we need that boost of energy, or we need that comfort or reward. It gives us that temporary relief that we need, but it doesn't last long, and it's not an effective or sustainable way to manage your SAD. Again, if you're reaching for the high carb foods, or you're overeating during the winter in order for comfort or to give you an energy boost, you'll notice that maybe you'll start to put on some weight. Think back. Has it been the same the winter before and the winter before that? Is there a pattern? And then you'll notice that maybe it is in relation to SAD that I start putting weight on each winter. Oversleeping. Do you notice that, especially in the winter time, that you find it more difficult to get out of bed, you oversleep, you find it hard to wake up? You don't really have that issue maybe in the summer or the other seasons. But again, does it happen to you mostly around winter time or in one of the particular seasons? Then this could be a telltale sign that you're experiencing SAD. Afternoon slump. Again, you might say, well, this happens to me all the time, but if you kind of sit back and look at it and analyze it, does it happen to you all year round? Or is it mainly in a particular season, especially the winter time, when the lack of sunlight reduces our energy levels? We've low energy, especially about midday, and we just have this slump. We can't get ourselves out. Have a think. Look back at each winter. It might surprise you. You can't believe it, but in the summertime, you seem to get agitated, anxious. More so in summer than any other season. Again, look back as it happened in previous summers. This could be summer pattern sad, where you are restless, you feel agitated, and you don't know why. Look into summer pattern sad. If any of these symptoms seem familiar to you, you're not alone. Many of us ride this unseen roller coaster of symptoms. I'm going to take a break for a second and ask you a question. Have you or do you experience these seasonal shifts? Do you experience a change in your mood? If so, do leave a comment and get a conversation started. This may help you. It may help someone else. Now what we're going to do, we're going to move on and we're going to look at tips to help you identify symptoms and also some tips on how to alleviate these symptoms before they get out of hand. SAD is recognized as the beginning and the worsening of symptoms of depression because, as we know already, due to the changing of the seasons. So if you struggle with depression, just be aware that the changing of the seasons, maybe especially into winter, could heighten your symptoms. So it's very important to know how to manage the causes or the triggers and the symptoms. With SAD, as with many forms of depression, your mood will change. You may feel lonely, hopeless, sad, feeling down all the time, maybe feeling lost. And you can't put your finger on it, you don't know why. So be aware of your mood changes and the changing of the seasons. You may find, especially when winter approaches, that you don't want to be social, you don't want to connect with people, you don't want to go outside and interact. And this happens with depression in general. But you may find that in the summer and spring you were out and about doing activities and interacting and socializing. But in the winter, you seem to hibernate as such. But you're feeling low, you're feeling lonely, and you do nothing about it. You don't get out there in order to counteract those feelings. When we're not doing anything, if we're staying inside and we're not as active as we used to be, we will feel more fatigued. Our sleep will be interrupted. We'll be reaching for, as we said, for those carbs. We will feel sluggish and fatigued. We'll feel less focused and concentrated, finding it hard to make decisions. And this may be more prevalent for you now during the winter months or maybe the summer months, but the changing of the seasons, you may find, oh, I was on the ball in spring or autumn, and I feel in winter I'm just lost. I can't make a decision. Then you may start having negative thoughts. With all this going on in the background, your thoughts may go to the negative side. You may start to feel guilty, feel worthless. This is something you need to manage. You need to address as soon as possible before it gets any worse. I really feel that we all need to hear this, that any of those symptoms that we've just gone through, if any of those symptoms are so bad that they affect your ability to function on a daily basis, then it's a diagnosable disorder. Then what you may have is diagnosable as SAD. A simple strategy to do it light is to create a light exposure log. You're simply going to keep a light exposure log. You're going to track when you go outside into the natural light, what times of day, how long you spend outside. You're going to note the quality of light in the various indoor spaces you're working in or living in. And then you're going to be able to correlate maybe the changes in your mood with the exposure levels of sunlight you're getting. which means then that the light is having an effect on your mood and you can do something about it. You can get out more. You can change the lighting in your indoor spaces. So it's bringing some control back to you. I will tell you now to do a regular check-in. Set a few minutes aside every week to check in with yourself. Keeping a note of or being aware of your physical and emotional states. Ask yourself questions like, am I feeling more lethargic now? Am I not wanting to socialize as much? How am I coping with daily tasks in comparison to other times of year? Again, this gives us an insight into maybe things we need to look at and how we can change how our workings or our habits are. And again, it brings back control to us. This one I really love, and it always boosts my mood. I have a playlist of songs that remind me of special moments in my life or good times in my life. So it's my feel-good playlist. And when I feel low or I feel a low period coming on, I'll put on my headphones and I'll go for a walk, listening to those beats. Various artists, they can be silly songs, but they mean something to me and they always boost my mood and they stop me thinking negative thoughts. And I always feel good after it, and I listen to it even inside, but usually I try to get out and into the fresh air. So maybe have a seasonal playlist that boosts your energy and boosts your mood. And the last tip I want to give you is cold water therapy, something we've all heard about, something I've embraced over the last number of years, my way. I've kind of edged my way into it slowly but surely. And what I mean by that is I would have started off with showers. Cold showers, I wanted to say, but lukewarm, and maybe for 30 seconds. Gradually colder and colder and colder, longer and longer, up to 5 minutes. And then I would go with friends to the seaside, and early morning and we'd shock the bodies again, going into the seawater or the lakes where I lived in Ireland. It's really good, really, I find it really energizes me and elevates my mood. That's what I find. And now we've bought a pod, a tub, an ice bath, trying to find the words, and I find it really good because I can just dip in and out anytime I want. This area I'm going to talk more about because it's very interesting. It's a good therapy and it's accessible in some form to us all, and this is what we're going to focus on in the next video. Thank you very much for staying with me and going through SAD. See you in the next video when we look at cold water therapy in order to elevate our mood and maybe reduce the level of our symptoms of depression.